Hello, and welcome to Monologuing Disney Villainous, a series where I will be monologuing about Disney Villainous. Today, we are going to be discussing Darkness Brewing, one of the more recent announcements for the Disney Villainous line of products that has been met with some controversy within the community. But to really understand that, we're going to need some background information. This was our first look at Darkness Brewing, although we did not know that was its name at the time. There is what appears to be some piece of paper covering the silhouette, but what we did know was that it was a big purple box. And this was very exciting. This could mean really anything. The last big Disney box we got was Introduction to Evil, which was a bunch of remakes. However, that did not stop people from getting excited. Myself, I was hoping for some TV villains, because I think that would be very cool. So, this picture, to my knowledge, was not supposed to be revealed to the community. It was not at an event open to the public. That being said, obviously, we have this picture. So, it wasn't really an announcement per se, a little bit more of a leak, but it still got people very excited. And there was radio silence, because we did not have the official announcement until just a few days ago, as of the time of recording. However, when Gen Con tickets went live, we did find out the name of this mystery purple box. Disney Villainous, Darkness Brewing. However, at this time, we also learned that it would feature three beloved villainous as villains. And what that seemed to mean at the time was either remakes or just straight ports. We weren't really sure at the time. But the worrying thing about that was that there was also one new villain included. People were worried that this villain might be exclusive to this box, and you'd have to buy the three maybe ports, maybe redos, remasters, to play this villain, which fortunately wasn't the case, but it still definitely left an impression. And then, a few days after this came out, we got our official reveal. We now know it is Maleficent, Evil Queen, Ursula, and the Sanderson sisters. So, based on promotional images, we are assuming at this time that Maleficent and Ursula are their introduction to evil counterparts, and the Evil Queen seems to be unchanged at the current time. And then we have the Sanderson sisters, who will be coming in their own box later in the year. And we also now know the price of $30. And people were not happy about this announcement. However, let's get into some positives first, because I think it's important to take a positive outlook. Our first positive is that this is a standalone box with 4 villains. It's not the 6 of the original worst takes at all, but 4 villains is still a very solid amount. A family can easily take the box off the shelves and then go home to play. This is important because if a family or a person is really into Hocus Pocus, the Come We Fly, the Sanderson Sisters solo expansion, would not be playable for them if they don't have the rest of the villainous line. So having the Sanderson Sisters be part of a base box or standalone box is extremely good for the people who are coming into Villainous for the Sanderson Sisters. And also, I think it's just very convenient to not have to carry around solo boxes. Speaking from experience with Venom and Oogie Boogie. Our second positive, the aesthetics. All these movers. Oh, I love these movers so much. I really do hope the Sanderson Sisters mover is a similar color scheme to this. I think part of what makes these work so well is that the three previous villains all have either green or purple in their color scheme. And this makes it all the more striking. Next, we have the fact that this box is just easy to skip if you have the rest of the boxes. If you have Evil Queen and the Introduction to Evil, you aren't really missing the Sanderson Sisters because you can buy the Come We Fly expansion separately. So you can have a totally complete collection without needing to buy Darkness Brewing. And that's about it for the positives. So let's talk about the negatives and why it's not being met with much praise. First of all, this is a bit of a personal thing, so if you want to skip ahead, I totally understand. This is just my personal issues that I want to get out of the world. I am not a fan of strength tokens, and it seems like the Sanderson sisters will have strength tokens. And I know this isn't a Darkness Brewing problem, but I still want to talk about it. I feel like strength tokens are a very easy way out of making a card. Like, this character gets this strength, this character loses this strength. I much prefer cards that can attach to cards or locations that can give the strength passively. Which brings me to my next point. They should not be used for temporary modifiers, which Ravensburger seems to enjoy, but it should only be permanent changes to the villain's strength. And then they're also just way too common. Every villain since Bigger and Badder, except for Madame Mim and the Introduction to Evil reworks, has had some use of strength tokens. And I think it really does not make the strength token mechanic cool and unique. I think it just makes it a little annoying because it's more pieces you have to keep up with. Lotso was fine because that was a unique mechanic at the time, but now I'm just really annoyed having to take them out of the box. And moving on to our next negative, the Sandersons are releasing early. Everyone was really expecting Come We Fly to be a Halloween box. And we were waiting for Halloween over there at Halloween Town. We're all just, oh, yay! We're gonna get the new villains in. However, if you pay $30, you get them early. And I don't think sneak peeks are bad per se, but locking people out who are big fans of the game but just don't need the other villains with the Sanderson sisters in Darkness Brewing, it's not really, it doesn't really feel good. Next, we have the fact that there's really no new content. Unlike Success at Any Cost, an expansion I'm very excited for, there's nothing else for a fan with a complete collection to really take the plunge and purchase this box. And just that, it just doesn't make it very exciting since you can buy the Sandersons later. So this announcement that's really cool and maybe some people are going to buy, you're kind of locked out of it. And our final negative, strange choices. I don't absolutely hate the idea of a box that repackages old villains without many changes, but the villains they chose are just strange. They chose half of Introduction to Evil, and a third of Wicked to the Core. What this means is that if you buy Darkness Brewing, you would have 50% of Introduction to Evil. And at that point, you really shouldn't be buying Introduction to Evil since it's really redundant for you. Wicked to the Core is a little bit better, it's only a third of redundancy, but it's still not something you want to be buying with your money. You don't want to just waste money here. And unfortunately, with Evil Queen on the cover especially, it really just seems like a turnoff uh, and have Darkness Brewing alone as opposed to here's Darkness Brewing and here's the rest of the villainous roster. So it's not really a good place to start since these boxes are the only ways at this time to get those villains. And if you are looking to expand your collection, you have to get these villains again. And then there's also the Power Cauldron. It does not appear that Darkness Brewing has a Power Cauldron. And granted, this is purely for aesthetics, but I love those movers. I am a sucker for aesthetics. Not having the Power Cauldron is kind of a letdown. And it really makes me wonder who this box is for. Since if it's for people who already have a Power Cauldron, then they already have either Introduction to Evil or Wicked to the Core. So, if you already have that, there's no reason to buy two villains you already have, either remade or just ports from Introduction to Evil. And if you buy this first, then you don't have the Power Cauldron. So it's just really confusing to me. So, what do I think of this in its entirety? I think it's fine. I don't really hate it, but I'm not absolutely over the moon about it. It is annoying that we have to wait for the Sanderson sisters to come during Halloween time, but it didn't really take away from development of any boxes, it seems. Maybe the art team had a little side quest here, but they did a great job, so I am happy with their work here. But the gameplay designers, there would be no reason for them to redo the villains if they're just straight up ports. If it really is bothering you that much, then it's also fine to just not buy this set and move on to Come We Fly, because you will still have your complete collection. So, all in all, it's okay, but I do wish that they had a bit more of a plan for us, the consumer, going forward. If they announce more expansions, like maybe the other half of Introduction to Evil, then it would make sense why they had these two ported and they could just phase out Introduction to Evil. Or maybe they will do more to Wicked to the Core. Maybe they'll port Yzma over in another base box for people to get started in. And if they make alternative methods to bring people into Villainous, I really do think that's a good thing. So, strangely, I think if we had more Darkness Brewing, I think it would be better for the community. So, hopefully, we will get more information and more, strangely, more ports for non-essential purchases. I do think that if there was a exclusive villain locked behind the $30 big box, it would not have gone over as well. But that's going to be it for me. Would I recommend buying this? If you are a new player, I would say wait to get Wicked to the Core. If you are a returning player who has all of these villains, maybe consider it if you can find it at a good deal. As it stands, Darkness Brewing is $15 more than Come We Fly. And if you can find it for $15 off, $10 off, it might be worth it for you to get the Sandersons early and those really good looking movers. And then lastly, if you are a Hocus Pocus fan and this game looks interesting to you, then go for it. Though, do be careful on the next set you buy. But fortunately, we have a wonderful community who would be happy to give you recommendations. So that will be all for me. Thank you all so much for watching.